white spots with a shot. You got that Candace Bone. She may be a lady, KB. Past the crazy, cool as the AC. The ice princess, no better than finish. She got it like a line on the spot. She take risks. WNBA sparking. Loving the best because they all so hard. Tonight we going hard.
Well, good evening, WNBA and LA Sparks fans, and welcome in to the LA Sparks 365 Network, your 24/7 365 comprehensive home for the WNBA and your two-time WNBA champion Los Angeles Sparks. Back with you guys here on Tuesday night, June 23rd, 2015, on a graveyard shift edition of LAS 365. This is the LAS 365 postgame show following tonight's game in Washington, D.C., as the Sparks play a lot better than the past couple of games, but ultimately come up a bit short, though, as the Mystics hang on to beat the Sparks 84-80. Good evening, folks. Cal McClure joining you solo tonight from Studio 171 in San Diego. As you folks may have saw the tweets and the post on Facebook or on Twitter today. As you know, I've been battling this cough the past about 2 to 3 weeks, I'd say. The good news is the cough is slowly going away. The bad news is, though, I woke up this morning and was in a world of pain. Apparently, the coughing has been so rugged and tough and hard and it's good, folks, that it actually has cracked one of my right ribs. So I am dealing with that now, on top of still trying to get through the cough and everything else included, folks. So I've been in a world of pain since I got up at about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock today, so bear with me tonight. I am going to battle through this, folks, like I always do, battling through a few things. So I'm glad that the cough is gone, but at the same time I would like to have my rib cage fully at 100%, but that's not the case right now at this point in time. With that, folks, in the LA Sparks tonight, a well-improved effort. In spite of the final score being 84-80, much improved from what we saw or have seen so far this season. But the Sparks, though, again, ultimately come up a bit short tonight as they falter to the red-hot Washington Mystics, 84-80. Final line score for Los Angeles, 21 in the first, 16 in the second, 24 in the third, and 19 in the fourth for the game total of 80. For Washington, 22 in the first, 17 in the second, 25 in the third, and 20 in the fourth for the game total of 84. And as you folks can probably tell, the Sparks losing every quarter by one measly point, and ultimately dropped the game by 4 points. The final LA box score goes as follows. Jantel Lavender, 18 points in 33 minutes of action. Tamika Johnson, 17 points. Jen Lacey, 14. Nneka Ogwumike in her first game of the year, 11 points. Faria Abdi, 10. Newcomer Jasmine Lister and Andrea Hoover all with 4, and Mariana Tola with 2. Jennifer Hampson held out of the ballgame, coach's decision. And, of course, Elena Beard and Aaron Phillips now with the team, dealing with a foot and sprained knee on the road trip. The Sparks' final team totals for the night: the Sparks shot 34 of 68 from the field and went 6 of 15 from beyond the arc and 6 of 7 from the free throw line. This evening had 37 rebounds, 20 assists, 24 personal fouls, 4 steals, but 17 turnovers, 3 blocks, and 2 blocks allowed, and a game total of 80 points. For the Washington Mystics this evening, Tierra Ruffin-Pratt and Emma Meesman with 20 each. Ivory Lotta, 13. Then a big drop-off. Stephanie Dolson and Taylor Hill all with 7. Bria Harley with 6. Natasha Cloud with 5. Kia Vaughn, no points. Kayla Thornton with no points. And Arminty Harrington also no points. And Allie Mallett also no points for Washington in the ballgame. The Mystics' final team totals. The Mystics this evening shot 27 of 58 from the field, 6 of 14 from beyond the arc, 24 of 33 from the free throw line, shot 72% from the charity stripe this evening. Total team rebounds 24, 17 assists and 17 personal fouls, 9 steals, 9 turnovers, 2 blocks, and 3 blocks conceded with 84 points in the ballgame. The game that played tonight from the Verizon Center in Washington, D.C. Total attendance tonight, 7,400. Telling the ball game, 2 hours and 9 minutes. The officials were Sue Blotch, Billy Smith, and Eric Bruton. 2 technical fouls charged to L.A. in the ball game, 3 lead changes, and 5 times this evening the teams were tied. Now, folks, in spite of the loss, in spite of the Sparks going 0-5 on the season, this was their best effort so far this year. Now, I know that they're still missing Candace Parker. Chrissy Tolliver's due back sometime in a couple of days, and of course without Elena Beard and Aaron Phillips not making the trip. But you get one puzzle piece back. You get Nneka Ogwumike back tonight, and immediately snap of a finger, folks, her presence is felt. Now, obviously, her presence obviously does not help the Sparks win the ball game. But at the same time, though, in spite of the loss, I think every LA fan's like, okay, maybe we're slowly turning the corner right now. Now, again, folks, still a bit rough, though, as you can probably tell, again, the Sparks, again, tonight, battling. But again, though, this was not a case, again, folks, of the Sparks having a rough day at the office. They were, trading blow for blow, punch for punch with the Mystics all night long until the final few seconds when they had to foul to save time. And again, folks, the line score, 22-21 after the first, 17-16 through 2, 25-24, 2019. That is a sign, probably one of the few positive signs that tell me that LA has life. And again, probably with Nneka Ogwumike coming back in the fold tonight, that's probably the start of LA getting back on track. Now, again, obviously, still an uphill climb, though, of course, 0-5, again, dangerously hanging around to the bottom parts of the conference. But again, today, though, LA showed me that this team has some type of a pulse. Now, obviously, it may be a long road ahead for LA, of course, following tonight, off days tomorrow and Thursday, and then back at it on Thursday, or Friday, I should say, at Connecticut, and then Sunday at New York. So, obviously, two more tough games coming up. But again, today, though, all around, I believe, is LA's best effort so far. This is their best game, signature game so far this year, in my opinion. In spite of the fact that the Sparks lost again, folks, this was their best effort that I've seen out of this club so far. And again, the numbers speak for themselves again today. Jantel Lavender, another great game, 18 points. Tamika Johnson, 17 points. Ends the half with a buzzer beater to save LA's skin. Jen Lacey, the only Spark among other than Jasmine Lister in positive figures and plus-minus at +8 today. 2 huge putbacks late in the ballgame that kept the game within 3, 14 points. Of course, Nneka Ogwumike easing her way back into playing shape, -5 and plus-minus. But of course, though, 11 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. But unfortunately, they'll foul out towards the end. Faria Abdi, in spite of the Sparks, in spite of a lot of people saying she doesn't belong on the team or belonging on the roster. 10 more points on a good game, but sadly they'll foul out once more. Made both of her 3-point attempts. So obviously, there's been some areas of improvement. Now again, though, the puzzle is not complete. As we know, there's still 4 pretty big-size missing pieces on this LA puzzle. Of course, Candace Parker, rumored now, folks, to be out for the entire season. Have not gotten confirmation, but still, though, have heard that she's coming back post the All-Star break. But again, there may be a possibility that she will be out for the whole season. But again, we're not ruling out anything right now. What we have heard from sources, she will be back sometime this season. Of course, Elena Beard and Erin Phillips got to get healthy. Right now, Erin Phillips, no timetable for her return. Suffered a sprained knee in practice before the game on Sunday versus Connecticut. Elena Beard could be out for an extended period of time, dealing with a left foot injury. So, of course, some injuries that have got to heal up. And, of course, the bigger question, will Candace Parker be back this time or, be back at all the season? I've heard some reports from a few fans that they have heard some rumblings that Parker may, in fact, be out indefinitely and be out for the season. I've not gotten full confirmation from any sources with the Sparks. So right now, let's not panic yet about her being out for the season. What I have gathered, she is still supposed to return to the Sparks sometime this season. But if so. If not. And the time off is, I think, beneficial for Ace coming back sometime next season. So we'll see what happens. And, of course, the one thing, though, I will have to disagree with folks is about the Sparks losing intentionally. Mitch Kupchak and Byron Scott were asked the same exact questions when the Lakers were having their worst season in franchise history last year. Are you tanking for the number 1 seed or number 1 pick in the draft, folks? LA franchises don't operate this way. You don't intentionally lose games, unless you want to say the Mercury did in 2012, folks. But when you're playing Los Angeles, New York, or big-name cities, you don't intentionally lose your ball games to benefit your number 1 draft pick status. So don't give me any of this garbage or crap that the Sparks are tanking to get Breanna Stewart. It may look that way, but it's not even close. They're dealing with injuries, and yes, a couple players in some fans' cases are being unloyal because they're fulfilling either a rest period or they're going through a phase of rest and or they're playing overseas to fulfill some personal obligations. Don't give me that sob story about the Sparks tanking and intentionally losing ball games, because LA sports do not operate that way. Just because the Lakers had a 16 And whatever record it was last year does not mean that they were tanking for number 2 this season. There was a lot of factors with that team, as much as there is with the Sparks this year, so do not even go there with me about the Sparks tanking for Brandon Stewart next season. Otherwise, go jump off the diving board, and we'll see you next season if you dare to come back next year. Sorry to sound that way, folks, but I get a very frustrated, though, hearing people, especially fans of one franchise say, especially fans of the franchise that you're rooting for, saying we should just tank and forget about the season just because we have injuries and 2 players sitting out. Do not go there with me, or you can go join the rest of the people that have already left L.A. and abandoned the Sparks this season. We'll see you hopefully next year. Otherwise, do not bother coming around me next season at Staples Center if you think the Sparks are tanking for next season. Okay, enough of that, folks. Obviously, as well, folks, you may have seen Jasmine Lister also on the roster. Courtney Clements, nice knowing you, honey. Thanks for coming. So long. Farewell, goodbye almost after one game. Played on Sunday, of course, when the Sparks, again, fell to Connecticut on Sunday. Some more roster juggling here made by Brian Agler today with Agumake coming back, putting her back at the forward spot. Faria Abdi goes back to the forward spot. Lavender goes back to center. And, of course, today Mariana Tolo starts at guard today, which is normally a forward and center. So, obviously, some more shuffling going on there. For Washington, by the way, folks, obviously the Mystics have been probably the more surprising team in the Eastern Conference so far this season. As they now improved to 6-1 on the season. Tierra Ruffin-Pratt, 20 points, along with Emma Meeseman, 20 points. Ivory Lotta chips in 13. And, of course, after that, again, a big drop-off again, where at this point in time, where once more you see those 3 puzzle pieces do so well, and then at the same time they do not have much backup. But, of course, Ruffin-Pratt and Meeseman holding their own for Washington, who I think, folks, has been probably the more surprising team. Okay, maybe Connecticut is probably the number 1 most surprising team right now in the East, but the Mystics are right there at the threshold between being most surprising team out there in the Eastern Conference. In case you want to know the standings real quick, after today's game, again, only one game today and only one game tomorrow in the WNBA, the Mystics actually go to 5-2 on the season. They are still a game behind Connecticut, who's at 6-1, followed by Connecticut, Washington, New York, and Chicago, 1-4, and the Fever and Dream tied up at 3-5 in the bottom half of the conference. And out west, out here, Tulsa 6-1, a full game ahead of Minnesota 5-2. Phoenix at 3-3, 2.5 out, and Seattle 2-4, 3.5 out, and Los Angeles and the Stars both at 0-5 and 0-6, both at the bottom of the conference right now. Now, obviously, folks, if I had to really say who surprises me more, Connecticut and Tulsa are 2 teams I think we all were waiting for. When will they get hot? And they finally have gotten hot, folks, and they, I believe, are here to stay. Both of them in identical spots, both starting the season at 0-1 and rattling off 6 straight victories. Another surprise probably is the Mercury again, coming off championship hangover, and again, their own problems too, folks, with no puzzle pieces as well, 3-3 in third place behind Minnesota at 5-2 a game out. The Mystics, of course, been a great story, and of course the New York Liberty, 4-3. We'll get to them in just a second here, but again, some surprises so far this season here in the 2015 WNBA season so far at this point in time. Now, folks, staying with the Liberty for all the wrong reasons, the WNBA issued the following statement yesterday regarding Isaiah Thomas's application for proposed ownership interest. The brief, very brief, three-line sentence and paragraph in statement reads, quote, after further discussion with the season underway, the WNBA and the New York Liberty have agreed to suspend consideration of Isaiah Thomas's application for an ownership interest in the Liberty until further notice. The process will resume at a future time as determined by the Liberty, close quote. Now, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, this was a very, very big and very concerning red flag, siren ringing, cracking your ribs sort of deal we were talking about, folks. Again, as we know that Isaiah Thomas, as we know, a longtime member of the Detroit Pistons, a great basketball career he had with Detroit and many other teams in his tenure, but of course, being knocked down for sexual harassment, and of course, wise decision, great move, smart move by the WNBA and the Liberty to suspend this, to not have any more fuel to the fire at, as we know that there was many, many group protests outside of MSG before the first game of the year, protesting for Isaiah Thomas to not be the team president or the owner by many women's rights activist groups in New York. So obviously, smart move by the WNBA to put this on hold for at least this season, because obviously you didn't want to have, one deal, folks, as we know, You didn't want to have one fiasco with the Brittany Griner and Glory Johnson snafu, then have another one on top of that one, which, of course, was Isaiah Thomas. So I think it's the right thing to do right now for both sides of the story, for both the league and the Liberty, to say, hey, look, let's hold us off right now. We'll come back to this at a later time of day. But, folks, even though that they're going to hold off on this until next season or sometime during the offseason, I still feel that Isaiah Thomas will not be allowed to be owner or president of the league because of what his baggage and what his background is. We know he's had a few sexual harassment run-ins, folks. So I think that in spite of this being put on delay, I still don't think that we're going to be able to see, and I still don't think that we will see Isaiah Thomas as owner and team president of the Liberty because of what his background speaks about him. Of course, sexual harassment towards an MSG employee, and of course MSG, the company, of course, owning the Garden, the Liberty, and the Rangers and their television station out there. So obviously, a lot of people against Isaiah Thomas. You know, a lot of fans out there are against Isaiah coming in. So obviously, I think though that once the dust settles, we will not see Isaiah Thomas as part of the as a part owner and or president of the Liberty anytime soon. Now, again, folks, we had some. Okay, so one quick tweet here, real quick. From Philly Kid from @RamboBot68. We love having your input out there, RamboBot68. They say, I think that once CP comes back, we'll be fine, but right now we're really missing her points and leadership out there. You know, I totally agree. And again, as I was going to get to, folks, again, there's been some spattering of rumors amongst fans, hearing that perhaps Candace Parker may be out for the entire season, as we have seen with Diana Taurasi in Phoenix. Now, again, folks, I cannot confirm for you from any of my sources with the Sparks ownership and franchise and for almost about Parker being up for the whole season. What I can tell you still is what I have heard from Candace herself a few days ago. What she had told me, again, is it's still going to be for only part of the season. Now, again, as I said, I cannot confirm for you folks, but again, there's been some small rumors out there about Parker not being around for the whole season. So, again, I cannot confirm nor deny those reports, but again, I think, though, that it's unfair, though. Again, I'm not being soft or making excuses for one of my favorite players and one of my best friends on the team. But I think that it is completely wrong. I know that fans are entitled to their opinion, folks. Trust me on that. Hear me out here. But I just think that it's unfair for the fans to be attacking Candace Parker for taking the time off. Now, again, I know that there are a few people I know that are Sparks fans that did play basketball. Cleo Mason is one of the best people I know who played at USC, who I've talked to plenty of times on Facebook. Yes, it may be damning that you're not seeing Candace Parker on the court. And yes, we see, you've seen through 5 games that she is a big missing component to this LA roster with her points, her leadership, so on and so forth. But I think, though, that it's not only is it rude, but very wrong as a fan. And I know that we're all entitled to our opinion as fans, but to blatantly, continue to throw her under the bus because she's trying to give herself a break from playing 8 consecutive years overseas, year-round basketball for 8 consecutive years, plus 2 Olympic Games, folks. The break is much deserved. And I know that you want to question her loyalty and this and that, folks, but I think that in spite of having your opinion, there's no need to do this. And again, folks, I'm not saying this as her #1 male fan and or one of her, and someone that got the chance to interview her back in September. I'm just saying this as a analyst. Doing my job is, yes, you want the best for the team. But at the same time, it's like you need to realize, though, that as we know, there's many hurdles, folks, but there's no need to continue to bicker and whine and continue to, drive the bus over her. I know that you guys want her back as much as I do, but at the same time, you have to realize, though, that they're not playing just for their career. They need to look out for their future endeavors and their plans. If you listen to my interview with Candace Parker back in September, Why do you think I asked her? Once your playing days are done, what are your future hopes, dreams, and expectations? Because you can only play your sport for so long. I played mine since I was 5 up until I was 18, so I played 13 years, folks. And through those 13 years of baseball, it was year-round, included with 3 years of international play. Even though I've not played a game in 3 years, my body still kills me. I've got 2 bad knees, a bad ankle, a cracked rib now from being sick, and major back problems. So, as much as you guys, as much as we all want Candace Parker back, give it a rest, breathe in and out like I can't do because of my cracked rib, and just settle in for the long haul. She'll come back when she's ready to come back, but there is no need to continually beat down your franchise player, whether you're questioning her loyalty or not, folks. No need to continually beat down the dead horse of criticizing her for not playing so far this season and questioning when is she coming back. And also, it's also time, folks, to stop saying for the Sparks to trade her or release her. Someone asked me today or said, should we, what should they do? The Sparks can't do a damn thing about it. Her rights are owned by the Sparks, folks, as I've said who knows how many damn times on here. The Sparks cannot do anything about her. Under the core player designation rule, the superstar players on every team cannot be dealt or released because their rights are held onto by their franchise unless they work out some agreement. And what I have heard is even though Parker's unsigned, she cannot negotiate with Phoenix or any other team in the league. So in spite of the fact of many fans wanting her gone, digging for the long haul because the franchise player is not going away that easily. Now again, folks, I hate to be the person that is sounding very gruff and standing up for my favorite player, folks. Again, I'm not doing that. I'm just observing the situation that has been asked of me since day one of the season. Is when will Candace Parker be back, and why? And when will LA trade her? Because they cannot do that, folks. As many times I've said that, and I will be settling down. But I just want to reinforce that situation, folks. Again, is you can question my dedication to the network for not being here on Sunday or whatever it may be. You can question me all you want about why I wasn't on my radio show today. But you can do that all you want, folks. But it is what it is. And at the same time, you're looking out for your future. And that's all I can say about Candace Parker. She's looking out for her future once her career is all said and done. So if she is out for the season, which again I have heard nothing about, so I don't know why we're even talking about Parker being out for the season, folks. Until I actually hear something and tell you about it, don't believe what you hear. Until it comes from a source from the Sparks or from me, don't believe what you hear. Because last I heard from the front office at the home opener, Parker will be back this season. So we'll leave it at that. If you disagree with me, folks, you can block me on Twitter, unfriend me on Facebook, or tell me to take a hike and that I should stop hosting this, folks. But hey, I'm just telling you what I know. And if you think your opinion's better than me, come on here and you can host a show for me for the next time. All right? We'll make that deal. If you think you know more than I do on this network, come on in. You can host a show for me, and I'll watch and see how bad of a job you do. Pretty plain simple. With that, folks, I know that I've kind of got on the high horse here a bit. I hate to do that, folks, but sometimes it kind of comes out of you sometimes. And I'm sure I probably offended a few LA fans. I'm sorry if I did, but I'm just telling you the facts. What I've heard from other people that know what's going on with this LA franchise. So you can take my opinion or take my thoughts any way you want, but at the same time, we're all entitled to our opinions, and, if yours is better than mine, come on in. We'll gladly bring you on, and we'll watch you struggle, sadly, on the network. With that, folks, we only have one more game tomorrow. Again, sort of those single games so far on the schedule. Tomorrow morning at 9:30 Pacific, Atlanta at Chicago, in full action on Thursday and Friday. Thursday's games, Mercury at Stars at 5 o'clock, and the Lynx was at Seattle at 7 o'clock. And across the scoreboards on Friday, LA at Connecticut at 4 o'clock. By the way, folks, that game on Friday, there will be no television on Friday, so You can sort of, come to your own conclusions about that. Again, no television for the game on Friday versus Connecticut at 4 o'clock. Sky at Fever, 4 o'clock. Mystics at Dream, 4:30. Liberty at Shock at 5 o'clock. And then on Saturday, a full slate of games on Saturday, 2 of them to be exact. Merck at Lynx, 5 o'clock on ESPN2, and at 5 o'clock, Storm at Stars on ESPN3. And then the Sparks will be back in action on Sunday when they take on the New York Liberty at 12 noon. That game can be seen on Time Warner Cable Sportsnet and Time Warner Cable Deportes on Sunday. So again, folks, to remind you again, there will be no television, no TV on Friday, television on Sunday at 12 noon on TWCSN and TWC Deportes. With that, ladies and gentlemen, glad to be finally not coughing for once on here. I know I've had that miserable cough for the past couple of days since the early part of June. But again, glad to have that gone. But now it's a matter of trying to get rid or have this cracked heel, or cracked rib heel, I should say. Again, woke up today, folks, and I was in utter shambles. I woke up, my lower back was bugging me, my whole entire right side of my rib, my whole right side was in utter pain. It's been a pretty tough day. So I'm battling through it, and thanks to Chris Mancy, who's checking us out here on the network, saying, hopefully it's all right. Yeah, it's nothing too serious. It's just something that was kind of just just kind of popped up out of nowhere. So I'll be fine. Should be back to 100% in a couple of days, and other than that, nothing else much more to report. I mean, I guess I kid here, folks, but again, I know that. Yes, I got a little bit fired up here, folks, about a few things, but again, it's just a part of the job. I know that we're all concerned. We all love our team very much, but sometimes when fans of your own franchise kind of lead you the wrong way, you're going to get a bit amped up, a little frustrated with yourself. So again, I'm not personally attacking anyone. I'm just saying that what I hear sometimes, from our fans or from the fans of any team in general, kind of leads me the wrong way sometimes. So if I did offend anyone with my remarks, I apologize. But I just that's it is what it is at the end of the day. We all have a burning desire and passion and internal flame for our teams. We want them we want all of our teams to succeed and stuff. But I just whenever fans of someone of their hometown team pick kind of criticize their own players in a very rude way, sometimes I get a little upset and a little flushed with that. So obviously you can call me soft as Charmin toilet paper, whatever, folks. But it is what it is. So if I did step on anyone's toes, I apologize. You can forgive me if you want to. I really don't care. But obviously, I know that we made some pretty stern points tonight. But it kind of reminds me a bit of last year when Chris and I got really fired up about one game after the Sparks got beat by Minnesota. How I got very, very hot about why no one was helping out Candace Parker during that game, and she was doing everything by herself. So it is what it is, folks. Again, I'll say it again, but I apologize 100% for if I managed to offend anyone or made someone cry or whatever it may be with my remarks, being a bit fired up. But, true passion, yes, but also but sometimes a little frustrated, with some frustration as well. Is what I could say as well. So we will, okay, so here's what we do, folks. We'll bury the hatchet. We'll leave all this behind here. We'll come back on Friday following the Sparks game with the Sun, and we'll be 100% bigger and better than ever. So we'll leave all this here, folks. I know that sometimes we have arguments with friends, and we say, hey, look, we'll leave it here. Let's come back and reconcile the next day. We'll leave all of this crap here. All of this stays on this show and this hangout. We'll come back on Friday, and hopefully after a Sparks win, have a very good post-game show here, back here on Friday, back here on LAS 365. But with that, folks, on Tuesday night, June 23rd, 2015, the LA Sparks suffer their 5th straight loss to fall to 0-5 on the season as they falter tonight to the Washington Mystics, 84-80. For Cal McClurg and a cracked rib in San Diego, California, signing off. We'll see you folks back here on Friday. Till Friday, have a safe night. Drive home safely. Thank you all for coming and staying up this late with us. And good night now. This has been the LA Sparks 365 Network. We are Sparks. We are LA. We are the WNBA. See you folks back here on Friday night. Bye-bye.